Good morning to everybody. Today's topic of discussion is infective after seizure disorders, acute pyogenic meningitis. Now, little definition. Now, inflammation. What is acute pyogenic meningitis? This is the inflammation of the leptomeninges with variable involvement of the encephalon. Encephalon means brain matter. Okay, so inflammation of the leptomeninges along with the involvement of the some portion of the brain matter. Then it is defined as acute pyogenic meningitis or acute meningitis. Now, bacterial serious illness that is fatal if untreated, and viral usually mild self-limiting illness. Viral meningitis also occurs acute, but it is self-limiting illness. Now, now this when to suspect acute meningitis. Sick child with high-grade fever and presence of any of the features mentioned below. Nausea, vomiting, irritability, and excessive crying. Head banging in a younger child, headache, photophobia in older children. Seizure in 20 to 30% of children. Seizure can occur. Altered sensorium like stupor, coma, obtundation, meningeal signs, necrosis, cardiac signs, and Brudzinski signs. Then only you suspect meningitis. Now, after suspicion of meningitis, you should know what are the causes of meningitis, meningism. Meningitis like presentation, necrosis will be there, cardiac sign will be there, but it is not meningitis. What are those causes? Causes of meningism: subarachnoid hemorrhage, tonsillopharyngitis, apical pneumonia, typhoid, and UTI, urinary tract infection, which may get meningitis-like manifestation, which is known as acute meningism. Okay, so you should keep in mind meningitis and meningism, otherwise you will miss the diagnosis. Now, focal CNL deficits like hemiparesis, visual loss, features of raised intracranial pressure, such as bulging anterior fontanelle in infant. Up to 9 months to 18 months, up to 18 months, this anterior fontanelle remains open. So you will get it bulging anterior fontanelle, which is not pulsatile. But not only bulging, if it is pulsatile, then nothing is there. So if it is not pulsatile, then it is a significant for pyogenic meningitis. Papilledema, if you see with ophthalmoscope, bradycardia due to raised intracranial tension, hypertension due to raised intracranial tension, and brisk tendon reflexes. Important extra CNS manifestation. Rashes, petechiae indicate meningococcal or arboviral infection. You keep to mind it, you see only everybody tells this meningococcal, but arbovirus infection also, rashes, petechiae, it can occur. So meningococcal meningitis, you have to give penicillin or ceftriaxone, this, but arboviral, this is this viral infection. Then arthralgia. Arthralgia means pain in the joint without inflammation, signs of inflammation. Then DIC, disseminated intravascular coagulation. Then shock. Patient come with pyogenic meningococcal meningitis, They come generally with shock. Septic focus, elsewhere, e.g., example, pneumonia or septic arthritis, abscess anywhere in the body, like a lung abscess, abscess over thigh anywhere, and bacteria may go to meningitis, cause meningitis. Now, eliciting various signs associated with meningitis. Necessity, steps to elicit. How to examine the child for necessity. Bring the child to the edge of the examiner table. By the edge of the examiner table, you are to bring the child so that head falls down. So, but here head will not fall; it will remain straight. Support the head with palm. It will palm. You are to palm with support, and then flex the neck gently into the chest, trying to make the chin to touch the chest. Flex the neck gently into the chest, trying to make the chin to touch the chest. So it will not be possible for chin to touch the chest. That is, it is known as neck rigidity. Okay, I hope you could understand. Bring the child to the side of the examination table. However, this beyond examination table, edge of the examination table, support with the head with palm, and then with the right palm, and then flex the neck gently into the chest, trying to make the chin to touch the chest. It is not possible to touch the chest, then it is known as neck rigidity. Now, number two is carnic sign. Child in supine position. Supine position. Flexing the leg at hip 90 degree. Flex the leg and at hip 90 degree. Then try to extend the knee. At the hip, if it is extended, then 90 degree, then this leg will be this angle between the thigh and leg will be also 90 degree. And then try to extend the knee joint, knee joint, and it will be painful and muscles, this spasm will be there, and it will not be possible to extend the knee. So this is this sign. Now, next is Rudzinski sign. To write it properly, spelling Rudzinski sign. Child lie in supine position. Again, supine position, gently flex the neck of the child, like neck rigidity. You are to hold the back of the head with the palm and flex the neck of the child. Then what will happen? There will be flexion of the both the knee joint, flexion of the both knee joint, flexion of the both knee joint. Then Brudzinski sign is positive. Now, bulging anterior fontanelle. Hold the child in sitting position. Child should not cry. Child should be calm and not crying. Calm and not crying. If cries, then it will be pressure will be increased and bulging fontanelle will get normally. So child should not cry in calm and should uh, is in sitting position. Then palpate with the anterior fontanelle. You will get it is bulged, raised from the other parts of the skull. So you will get this bulging fontanelle, and in pyogenic meningitis, it is not pulsatile. Pulsatile. It will go on pulsation like this, like this, like pulsation. So you will not get. You will. It is raised and no pulsation. Now, investigation. If you suspect a case of pyogenic meningitis, or clinically you have diagnosed a case of suppose meningitis, so you have to find it out whether it is pyogenic meningitis, viral meningitis, or tubercular meningitis. You have to find it out. So as soon as possible, a clinical diagnosis, the, as soon as possible, lumbar puncture, as soon as you suspect, you do LP with clinical diagnosis for diagnosis. Repeat after 48 hours if initial LP is traumatic. Because maximum cases, if you are new doctor, suppose you will get first attempt, you will not succeed. So there will be this traumatic, so blood will come. So it is not CSF, mixed with blood. So you have to, if it is occurs with blood with this one, you have to accept it is a traumatic lumbar puncture, and you have to repeat after 48 hours. Okay, after 48 hours, you have to then you will get it. Now, non-response to treatment. If there is no response to treatment, if suppose if you have started at night, patient has come, at that time lumbar puncture you have not done, you have started antibiotic, and, the child is not responding to treatment, then you can go for lumbar puncture again. In CSF, one should look for what you will should look for: opening pressure, opening pressure high in acute meningitis. It will come through the hub of the needle. This by jet-like it will come if there is intracranial tension. Okay, the opening pressure means the pressure which is created by the CSF when passing through the needle. High in acute meningitis, it will CSF will come out as like jet, and then gross appearance clear or turbid. Acute pyogenic meningitis, it is clear. But once started, if you started antibiotic and if it is sensitive to organism, then by generally after 2-3 doses, it may become clear. You keep in mind, okay, but it is not totally cured. Next. Now, in CSF, what you will see? CSF, you will see biochemistry, sugar and protein. Now, what happens to sugar? Sugar is diminished. Sugar is diminished, and protein is very high range of protein, maybe 80, 100, 150, 200 milligram per deciliter, and sugar reduced less than 60 or even 50, below 50, you may get pyogenic meningitis. Sugar reduced, protein very high, cytology, total cell count and DLC should be done within 30 minutes of doing LP. Cytology, total cell count and DLC to be done within 30 minutes of doing LP. Because after if you do not do within 30 minutes, can't do, then you may get these cells, will get swollen with this CSF due to this loss of mm, this will not be able to identify the cells. Within 30 minutes, you are to do. Now, GMSA staining. GMSA staining to determine DLC, how much polymorph, how much lymphocyte. So, acute pyogenic meningitis, you will get 80 to 90% polymorphs and 10% lymphocyte, 10 to 20% lymphocyte. Polymorphs of nuclear leukocytosis in the CSF with less lymphocyte. Now, precaution before doing LP. What precaution you will take before doing LP? You may lose the child doing LP. Fundus examination to rule out papilledema. Okay, you are to examination fundus by eye specialist, and there should not be papilledema. If there is papilledema, don't go for lumbar puncture. No infection at the site of LP is must. If in the lumbar site where you will do lumbar puncture, if there is infection, if you introduce the needle, you will more introduce bacteria through in the subarachnoid space, and it will cause more inflammation and more severity of the meningitis. And bleeding diastasis should be ruled out. VTCT you can see before doing LP. So there should not be any bleeding diastasis. Otherwise, bleeding will not stop. Now, CSF picture in acute bacterial and viral meningitis. How will you differentiate? You see, gross appearance, pyogenic, it is turbid. Turbid means hazy or thick, pus-like. Okay, pyogenic, gross appearance, turbid means hazy to pus-like CSF. And in middle also you can get it. Acha, viral, generally clear. Sugar in pyogenic less than 40 milligram per deciliter generally, but here viral it is normal. Clear? Protein 100 to 500 milligram per deciliter, but normal or slightly increased in pyogenic viral meningitis. Protein 100 to 500 milligram per deciliter, very high rise of protein, but in viral it is normal or slightly increased. Total cell in pyogenic up to 1000 per cubic millimeter, and bacterial pyogenic, and in viral up to 100 per cubic millimeter. Predominant cell type in this pyogenic meningitis, it is neutrophil, polymer for nuclear leukocyte, and in viral it is lymphocyte. Okay. Now etiological agents. You see, now you will tell why I have after telling why I did not first mention etiological agent. This class is taken in All India Institute of Medical Science, and their classes I have one a book. What classes they are taking following the same I am taking class to you. They have taken like this. That is why I am also the etiological agent. I am talking later. Now, common agents. Etiological agents is Haemophilus influenzae. Okay. Then Streptococcus pneumoniae and Meningococcus. Haemophilus influenzae, Streptococcus pneumoniae, and Meningococcus. Uncommon agent. You write it exactly what I am telling you. Write it. E. coli, Pseudomonas, Proteus, Staphylococcus. Again repeating, E. coli, Pseudomonas, Proteus, Staphylococcus aureus, Staphylococcus epidermidis, and group A Streptococcus. Now, once you have diagnosed clinically suspected pyogenic meningitis, you have done LP. Where you will do LP, you know, I think, lumbar third and fourth lumbar space. Why? Because this spinal cord ends before that one, and there is meninges are there, so you will not cause trauma to the spinal cord. Now, treatment of acute pyogenic meningitis, antibiotics to be started empirically. When you suspect, you start antibiotic without delay until culture and sensitivity report available. Now, what antibiotic you will start? Cefotaxime, ceftriaxone is the initial choice. Ampicillin and chlorphenicol is equally effective. Antibiotics to be changed according to culture and sensitivity test. So you keep in mind, once you at night, suppose pyogenic meningitis has come, you got raised ventrally, Harnick sign, Brugesic sign, activity, all signs are positive, and raised ventrally, you start cefotaxime, ceftriaxone is the initial choice. You started any one of them. Or you can start ampicillin and chloramphenicol because it is equally effective. No harm. Antibiotic to be changed. You will send no culture sensitivity test, CSF, and you will get culture sensitivity test, and you will then change the antibiotics. Okay. Could you follow? Could you follow? Okay. Now, duration of treatment varies with various etiological agents. Suppose meningococcus, it is can be up to 7 days, and 10 to 14 days for pneumococcus and Haemophilus influenzae. 7 days for meningococcus, 10 to 14 days for pneumococcus and Haemophilus influenzae, 21 days for gram-negative bacteria. If it is gram-negative bacteria, then 21 days, 3 weeks you have to continue antibiotic. 4 weeks for Staphylococcus. It is most difficult to eradicate Staphylococcus, so you have to continue antibiotics for 4 weeks. Now, cefotaxime dose 200 milligram per kg per day in 4 divided doses. Clear? Ceftriaxone 100 to 150 milligram per kg per day in 2 divided doses. Cefotaxime is 6 hourly and ceftriaxone 12 hourly. Ampicillin and chloramphenicol equally effective 200 to 300 milligram per kg per day in 6 divided doses. 4 hours. Ampicillin and chloramphenicol. Okay. Now, penicillin. Where we can use penicillin? We can use meningococcus, streptococcus pneumoniae, meningococcus and streptococcus pneumoniae. We can use penicillin in place of ceftriaxone. It is also very much highly effective. 25 2,50,000 to 4 lakh unit per kg. 2,50,000 to 4 lakh unit per kg per day. You have to give penicillin, very high dose. You have to give. Okay, penicillin. So, in which case you can use? It is meningococcus and streptococcus. They are very much sensitive to penicillin. Then there are except antibiotics, other medication also you should can give. These are dexamethasone therapy. Why dexamethasone is given? To decrease the cytokine mediated damage, especially to the 8th nerve. It will cause deafness. Okay. So if somebody develops meningitis, they, particularly Haemophilus influenzae, cytokine excited is more, and in that case, 8th nerve will be damaged and will be later become deaf. Deafness will develop. So dexamethasone should be given 15 minutes before first dose of antibiotic. 15 minutes before first dose of antibiotic. So keep in your mind, if you go for suppose the aims or Delhi somewhere to do residency, then you have to know these things. You have to add 0.15 milligram per kg per dose, 6 hourly for 3 days only. 3 days you have to add dexamethasone to prevent cytokine mediated damage. Damage other nerves also called, but especially 8 nerves. Okay. Now, other things we have to give IV fluid. How much IV fluid? 2/3 of the normal requirement. You know, up to 10 kg, 100 ml per kg of body weight. This 10 to 20 kg, 100 ml per kg body weight, 1000 plus 50 ml per kg body weight up to 20 kg. More than 20 kg, 1500 ml plus 20 ml per kg above 20 kg. This is the normal requirement, but you have to give 2/3 of that one, 75% of this fluid to prevent SIAD, syndrome of inappropriate diuretic hormone secretion. So this will cause this SIAD. Okay. Now orally kept nil orally for past 24 hours. You don't give anything orally for past 24 hours. NS plus 5% dextrose, normal maintenance requirement, except if child in shock, bolus dose of 20 ml per kg can be given. If child is in shock, pulse is not palpable, 20 ml per kg of normal saline, you can give directly by bolus dose. Okay. Now to prevent syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone secretion and hyponatremia, 2/3 of the maintenance fluid are started. Okay. Acha. Then monitoring. What you will monitor? Vital signs, temperature, pulse, respiratory rate, BP. In meningococcal meningitis, the sudden shock will develop and acute adrenal failure will occur. Which is known as what is the name that for that one? Acute KW this KW this acute adrenal failure. Huh? So that cases BP will be down. Waterhouse Federation syndrome. Waterhouse Federation syndrome. Now, neurological status, you have to find out whether conscious, whether response to barbell talk or response to stimulation. Head size, you have to measure because those sutures are not closed, then head size may increase and maybe subdural hematoma. So you can see the head size daily. Daily weight you have to take, whether weight gain is there or due to weight is reducing, and urine output you should measure so that you can give next day's fluid, calculate the fluid to urine output also you should measure. Okay, please keep in your mind. Now, advice at discharge. When you will discharge, what advice you will give? Follow up for sequelae should be done. They should again visit and any sequelae, suppose deafness, then sixth nerve paralysis, coin, subdural hematoma, subdural effusion, hydrocephalus. So these complications, they will come for follow-up, they will come and you will identify. Again, I am repeating hydrocephalus, then deafness, then says coin. So you should see these things and you should follow up these cases. If there is any spasticity develops in the lower limb or upper limb, physiotherapy you should continue. So physiotherapy will reduce the spasticity. Bera or audiometry 6 weeks later. Bera audiometry is done. This for this whether child eighth nerve listens or not, or deafness has developed. IQ and developmental question DQ to be done in follow-up cases. IQ you should do see and DQ developmental question you see in follow-up cases. Now prevention. Number one is vaccination. Meningococcal vaccines are there, pneumococcal vaccines are there, Haemophilus influenzae vaccines are there. So for the vaccination, it can prevent that one. So once developed meningitis, you are to vaccine. You can give vaccine. There is no harm. It will not give permanent immunity. So you have to give again vaccine. Then hemoprophylaxis is influenza, Haemophilus influenza due to camouflage because in the nasal cavity, this or throat, some bacteria may remain there, and you have to eradicate that one Otherwise, they spread to other family members. So, Haemophilus influenzae, you are to give rifampicin 20 milligram per kg per day, single dose for 4 days. Haemophilus influenzae 20 milligram per kg per day, single dose per day for 4 days. Meningococcus rifampicin 20 milligram per kg per day in 2 divided doses for 2 days. You keep in mind, you see that is Haemophilus influenzae, it is 4 days, and meningococcus, it is 2 days, but it is 2 divided doses. Thank you very much. Hope you could learn something. Any question you can put me. So 95, no? Okay. So next I will meet with another topic. Okay.